Hmm. So can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Facebook, they're kind of integrated with Zoom.
Yes,
This
and
is
we
not
are
even a
live
while.
now, so that's what's taking so long.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, how am I? Like, is she going to invite me in? Like, I've never went live on Facebook, so I'm like, is she going to invite me in? Well,
Oh no, we're
actually, no.
live right now.
Okay. I had went live on Facebook, but it wasn't through Zoom. But this is a while ago.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Shara Nicole with the GreatHER Purpose podcast. I'm so excited to have a phenomenal woman here today as our special guest. And just to give you a little bit about her, I have to brag on her a little bit. Totteanna Shanklin, she is a serial entrepreneur who has an amazing story. From working as a cosmetologist for over 15 years to now being the founder of the Sweet Workflow Made Easier app, a technology solution dedicated to saving time, improving efficiency, and building a stronger salon community. She is educating individuals on how she built an empire from transitioning from behind the salon chair to creating an app that helps salon owners streamline face-to-face communication. She is living in her purpose-filled life, and is a great fit for the show. I'm so honored to have you here, Totteanna. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited too.
Awesome. And so, as I was telling you, the GreatHER Purpose platform is all about talking about our purpose and our journeys, and you definitely have an amazing story to share. My first question is, how did your background influence your career today in the present sense?
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, I was a cosmetologist. For the duration of my career, I was a suite renter. I maybe worked at 2 or 3 different enterprises, companies, and just my time there, I just noticed. Well, I guess let me say this: when I started to get that itch to be from behind the chair, I was like, okay, you know how you give yourself, okay, you think about it, but you kind of throw it out the window. But when I really start to get serious about it, like in 2018, I didn't really have a plan, but I just knew that I needed to be from behind the chair. I found out I was pregnant. I had my daughter in 2019. And for many of you that aren't aware, being a stylist, just a service provider is very demanding. The days where everybody's taking off for holidays and enjoying their family, those are our bread and butter days. Like, we're working up until Christmas Eve and on the holidays and having to squeeze our time in for our family. And I just was like, being that I have a daughter now, I need to be more present in her life. And so I just started to want to switch from being an operator to more ownership, where in a sense, my money makes money for me. I don't have to be present, that whole spiel. So when I got serious about the transition, it was December 2019. And I set a goal in January because that Christmas really did it for me, because with everything, well, I was an extension specialist. So I, mostly did like weaves, wigs. So like I had a big order. For one, I had clients in Dallas and Houston. I set the date to travel to Dallas before Christmas, all that jazz. Shipment was late. Ended up having to stay in Houston until like Christmas Eve, and then travel on Christmas Eve to service my Dallas clients. It was just a headache. And after that, I was like, because that's not the first time this happened, but that's really was the camel, and what they say, the nail in the back, or the camel, the straw that broke the camel's back. Right. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I literally set a goal in January. I was like, I'm going to be done behind the chair May 2020. And just fast forward, COVID really helped speed it up, because they start closing salons like end of March, April. And I was like, this is my way out. This is my way out. So I literally like maximized on that. And my first concept that I was going to develop were salon suites, but more so with like an educational component. But Yeah, with the educational component, and I also added a tech component that was kind of just like on the back burner. And so just after research and just speaking with people, I was like, let me scratch the salon suites and focus on my technology because for one, technology to me, now that I am in tech, tech is needed everywhere because it just it's progressive, it helps streamline and automate. So that's how I got here.
And you brought up some valid points because you probably can't tell now because I'm wearing my hair natural. But one thing I have noticed with a lot of my friends that own salons, they don't ever seem like they get a break, like ever. And people I don't think always realize that our free time is not your free time. So I think that's really cool how you were able to maneuver with that and still find a way for it to work for you.
Yeah.
But with that being said, what excites you the most about the beauty and fashion industry and tech? You kind of touched on the tech part already, but what excites you the most about it?
Oh, I just recently went to, I always say, regardless of what I venture off to, beauty and hair will always be my first love. I recently went to, because I've been going like to just different conferences because of course I'm in a new space, so I'm trying to soak up everything. So I've been going like tech conferences, beauty conferences, and the more I was going, the more I could tell the difference. Like I knew when I was at a beauty conference, everybody hair is laid, their outfits, their makeup, they show up like their profession. And I was like, that is just so, because I went to one in Austin behind the chair and just seeing the people enter the building, I'm like, yeah, I know I'm in a beauty. I just love beauty. I love hair. I love makeup. I love getting dressed. I just love that saying, when you feel good, you look good. It's so true. And not saying you need all that to be beautiful, but it does give you a different feeling.
Right. And you're right. Like you said, it doesn't have to be real extravagant all the time, depending on the person. But
Yeah,
if you feel good and you look good, and whatever that may look like to you, it just seems like your
exactly.
day goes better.
Yep. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's so true.
And what do you think is a misconception about the tech part? Because you did mention that you realize that it's very much needed everywhere, and I don't think a lot of people understand the importance of technology or tech still. What would you say is one of the misconceptions, especially in the field that you're in?
Well, I think because when people think of tech, and I was one of these people, you just think you have to go to school for 72 years, you have to study coding and this and that. It just is very intimidating. I'll say that. Coming from the beauty industry in tech, like starting out, I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to learn this? But of course, I haven't went to school for it. But in these few months that I have been in the tech space, I've been studying, reading, watching podcasts, going to conferences. Like I'm learning so much, and I'm like, oh, that's not as hard as I thought it was. Not, I mean, of course, there still are challenges, but I really believe if you commit to the work, study, research, put yourself in rooms where people that are already doing it. You are shooing to master it.
Right.
So yeah, it seems like it's very intimidating because even people write me like, well, how do I get in tech? Or how, like literally, if you just add any small tech component, people taking payments on their phone, that's tech. But people think it has to be this big lavish, and that's just not.
It's really more simple than people think it is.
Exactly. Yes.
So with that being said, how would you say it changes your app? I want to touch base on that. How do you think at this point it changes the salon suite experience?
Okay, well, so one of the extensions is an app, but essentially it's software.
Okay.
So my time as a suite renter, dealing with property management and maintenance requests and submitting payments and tracking my package, or even just speaking with the property manager, require manual processes. Like, let me send a text to see if my package came. Let me send an email to let them know my sink broke, or, all communication required face-to-face interaction. or text and email that took days sometimes for responses. So what SWM does, we help eliminate those manual processes and help automate and organize operations. So everything will be done through the software. If I have a maintenance request, even if it's 10 o'clock at night, I can submit my maintenance request. The next morning, the maintenance team on their end, they'll have like a queue of tasks for today, and they'll get on and send you push a button, you'll get a notification that they're on their way. When you submit your rent payment, you'll get a notification that your rent has been paid with a copy of your receipt. So we just help eliminate all those manual processes that are headaches. Because like I mentioned, being a cosmetologist and a stylist, you like this, you're seeing clients back to back, you barely have time for a lunch break. So having to check my phone to see if somebody's responded about my sink being broke, is just inconvenient.
Right. And it makes it more efficient and easier to stay organized that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, because the average enterprise has about 20 members. So just to think, if someone is getting emails and texts from 20 different people, or having to respond to 20 different people, it's unmanageable.
Well, it's also, I think with COVID, it kind of intensifies people's interest too, as far as, going that method. Because I know some places are like real old school with stuff. You got to call or send stuff in. And I know us younger people, we're like, can I do it online? Like, I know I let them pay my bills and stuff online.
Look, if I don't have to talk to nobody, I'm like, literally, let me do it online. Send me the link where I can do it online.
Right.
That is me.
I think the only problem you might have sometimes now is when you're trying to actually solve a problem that you can't do through the app. And then sometimes you're still dealing with a recording or like a robot.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part, those automated systems.
But you're definitely making it work. What would you say has been your experience since you decided to kind of change lanes with that and become more of an entrepreneur?
Honestly, I love it. I love telling my story. I love seeing the expression, because when people see me, people gonna always know me for hair. So when I say what I'm building and developing, they like, oh, really? I love it. I love it.
Well, what would you say to the young girl or young individual that's inspired to be an entrepreneur? What advice would you give them?
For one, pick something that you're in love with, because it's not easy. And I know it's cliche, people say it all the time, but it's not easy. It's not easy. So those days where if you're not really connected with something and it starts to get too hard, because it's not going to happen overnight. So if you're on your second, third year still trying to make something work, it's easier to give up on something that you're not as connected to. So find something that you love and pursue that. And only do it if your heart is in it, because some people see entrepreneurship online, or that's just the new wave. So they try to jump on it, but it's not for them. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You have to be a self-starter. You have to be self-disciplined. You don't have no one telling you, oh, it's time to log in. Oh, it's time to study this or research that. You have to be willing to do that stuff on your own. So if you're working now and your boss has to tell you 39 times to send that document, you may want to rethink it or become more disciplined.
Yeah. And consistency is key too.
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to be very consistent.
Yes.
And that can be a hard thing for a lot of people to be consistent.
Right. And even with this stuff, I'm still working on that myself. I'm not perfect, but I am taking the steps to, get better at it.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, is that people don't understand that you have to push through the hard times too. So how have you overcome some of those challenges when you face those obstacles?
The Lord, prayer, I'm not joking, prayer and just knowing that I'm where I'm supposed to be, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and nothing worth it is gonna come easy.
Right.
So it's just, I know it's light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. So let me keep pushing, and just that supernatural strength that the Lord gives me.
And not giving up.
That's right. That ain't even an option. We don't even say that.
But that's true though, because if you think about some of the greatest, I always use that Michael Jordan story as an example, how he got cut from the team and then he became one of the greatest football players ever because he didn't give up. And I remember talking to my nephew about it. He was like, I'm always great. I said, but you're going to face a challenge where you're going to have someone that's going to be stronger than you or be better than you, better skilled. So you have to be prepared for that. He's not trying to hear that right now, but it's a reality because
It is.
you can't give up.
If you research a lot of successful people, they have all gone through something. No one is without hardship, struggle. Some people may have came from money, but it's still, they face some type of challenges or hardships. Like no one has just had a straight path. And that also gives me comfort.
Everybody would be successful if that was the case.
Exactly.
So what do you hope to accomplish in the future with everything that you're doing?
Well, my main goal right now is generational wealth. I'm just trying to change the trajectory of my family and have something that my kids, my nieces and nephews, and those to come will have something. So that's my goal now.
It's a great goal to have. So if you had to pinpoint what your greater purpose is, what is Totteanna's greater purpose at this point?
I think about that often, and of course it changes over time, but I really believe I'm put here to not necessarily just show people, but to help people truly walk in who God made them. Because once you begin to take those limits off and see that nothing is possible with God, everything changes. And of course it takes time to get there. It takes just getting over your past and what people said and what they continue to say, and just literally like, I was made for this. Like whatever I do, if I'm partnering with God and He gave me this, I can do it. So just really walking in who God made me, looking at myself how God sees me. So I try to live like that to let people know too. I mean, just play it to let people know it's a real thing. Like take your lenses off and put His lens on and see how He sees you and operate that way. Because once you start operating that way, and it's not nothing cocky or, but it's just seeing myself how God sees me. Because at the end of that, His opinion is the only one that matters. Right. Because He knows the heart. Everybody else just He knows the heart. So if He say you good and you can go and He got you.
And He's also the one that put that purpose inside of you. So He already knows you can do it.
Yep.
That's awesome, Totteanna. How can people learn more about the app and more about you?
Our website, it's not live yet, but you can go and just submit your email. And that website is the SWME app, and SWME is SWME. theswimapp.com. Our Instagram, Instagram is the SWME app. LinkedIn, the SWME app. Really, on all social media platforms, it's the SWME app.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Totteanna. Is there anything else you want people to know about you and what you're doing?
Just stay tuned. I have some stuff in the pipeline that I'm excited to announce. I can't do it officially now, so just follow our Instagram, and my personal Instagram is I'm Tati, which is IM.TOTTE. So just follow us, keep motivating us, keep praying for us.
Well, you would definitely do well. Like I said, you have a great platform. I check out your Instagram. I'm like, you definitely know what you're doing, even if you don't feel like it all the time. You definitely know what you're doing. So just keep going, and just thank you so much for your time today. I've been honored to interview you today.
No, thank you. This is my first podcast or just like video interview like this.
Really?
I've done like over the phone and like the magazine write-up situation, but I haven't done this. So this is my first time.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. And there you guys, Totteanna Shanklin. Follow her on Instagram. I'll definitely have it in the description on the YouTube channel and Facebook. And just follow her and support her business and reach out to her if you're in the same interest. I'm sure she won't have a problem with that. So just thank you so much, Totteanna.
Thank you. Thank you.